I want to get your reaction to hearing President Trump say he wants to let Obamacare fail today. Doesn't sound like he's interested in working with Democrats, so that he doesn't own it. What do you think of that?
I mean, that's not just cynical, it's actually sinister. Here is a guy that promised consistently that he was, hey, only I can fix this, that I'm the guy, that I'm going to make health care for everybody, I'm going to make it affordable. Oh, it's going to be, I think the word he used was terrific. Well, he's completely abdicated that responsibility, completely broken that promise. He outsourced this healthcare process to people like Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan, and didn't even try to reach out to one Democrat in the Senate. Didn't call one Democrat, didn't call us up to the White House to try to work with us. A great deal maker failed to make a deal.
Yeah.
And so now he's just saying that I'm going to imperil 30 million Americans. If Obamacare fails, it's not just people going to say, hey, policy doesn't just fail. That means Americans will get hurt badly. And you'll see very devastating things happen. So that's not just a cynical way that's violating his promises. That's sinister. It is, and it's evil to plot against Americans like that.
But he places the blame. He says, you know, if it does fail, and he believes it is, he places the blame right at the foot of Democrats. Here's what he said earlier.
It would be nice to have Democrat support, but really they're obstructionists. They have no ideas. They have no thought process. All they want to do is obstruct government and obstruct, period. And in this case, think of it. So many good things, we didn't get one vote, and their plan has failed. And by the way, Obamacare isn't failing. It's failed. It's gone.
Would you work with him?
Well, I mean, it's just sad. And his utterances, his bluster, it's just sad, and it's such a transparent lie. Democrats were not invited to the table. They were not allowed into the secret meetings. We had no hearings. He didn't call us up to the White House to have conversations, to listen to our ideas. And there are tremendous ideas in the Democratic Party and, frankly, ideas over in the Republican Party. And so for him to say Obamacare failed, well, ask those people that have pre-existing conditions that are now covered. Ask those people that didn't have coverage that now have it. Ask those folks, as we've seen the personal bankruptcy get cut in half in America, ask those folks that would have been bankrupt right now by medical bills that aren't because of the Obamacare. Yeah. It polls well now. This is a guy who's making up lies, but this is what everybody should really worry about right now, is that Trump is trying to kill Obamacare. He's trying to sabotage Obamacare by threatening not to enforce the individual mandate, by threatening not to make the resources for so-called cost sharing available. And he's even stopped advertising for people to enroll, which is essential to have healthy folks enrolling in health insurance.
That's affecting insurers, and because of the instability, you think they don't want to sign on. As a matter of fact, there are studies that show that it's affecting
it. Right before Donald Trump was elected, the S&P, not a pretty independent financial analysis, talked about the marketplace as being strong and secure. And now, since Donald Trump has inserted all of this insecurity into it, through his actions, his strangling and sabotaging Obamacare, you see a lot of insurers, number one, I talked to the ones in New Jersey, are racking up premiums because they literally will tell you the majority of this is because of the uncertainty being presented by the Trump administration, or getting out of the markets altogether.
Oh, can I ask you about this? And let's talk more about this, you know, Democrats being obstructionists and what have you. Because it's not just Republicans who have work to do here. And there's a new Washington Post ABC poll. It shows a majority of Americans, 52% by the way, say the Democratic Party just stands against President Trump instead of standing for something. Do you think Democrats need a better message? Do they have work to do? Do you guys have work to do?
Well, again, the messaging might be an issue, but to me, the substance is what's important. You have Democrats, and in fact, me and Senator Casey and Senator Sanders put forward legislation, Senator Franken, frankly, as well, to lower prescription drug costs. It's a good piece of legislation. It should get Republican support. We've put forth ideas to fix problems with Obamacare, especially with those 15% of people that don't get subsidies in the individual markets. I can go through the great ideas that I personally have put forth. I put forth with many of my colleagues, and I know that there are ideas that are favorable to Republicans on the merit.